Welcome back to Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast. We are back with you for episode 70 something, 77.
It's 78. It's on the screen.
Oh, is it really?
Always on the screen.
Hey, that's good. Somebody, hey, I actually did that and I didn't even remember it.
Yeah. I think I told you that 2 or 3 times before. It's okay.
That's all right. I listen pretty good most of the time. So straight out the box, Josh just pointed something out to me I want to share because I forgot to share this last week. Phil 5 and Dime sent us some stickers. And pretty awesome looking stickers, actually. I like that. Yeah. When I get my shop set up, Phil, I am going to put this on my clipboard or whatever I decide to do.
Same here.
Then got mine for sale. Links below.
Shameless plug time.
I've got one of Josh's, but y'all can't have one because he don't sell them. And then, of course, we got our sticker. Anybody that wants them, they're available. Shameless plug for sure. And we don't sell Phil stickers. He sent us that. Sorry.
I give mine away. So if you contact me on social media, I'll be glad to send you one.
Hey, listen, I give a bunch away too, Mr. Generosity. Okay? Hey, I forgot to tell you about this. I've got a story. I was so proud of myself. Guess what? You're going to need milk with that.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. Listen to this story. So it's one of them, you're about to get murdered by your wife stories, right? That's the way it starts. So the other night, it was Tanya's birthday, Saturday. And she what was it? I don't want to tell you this wrong. It was Saturday night. Yeah, we went to my mom's house. And she cooked supper for Tanya and, for her birthday and all that. And we got back home and Mom had made a coconut cake. Yeah, that's what it was. I'm trying to think. So I get me a big old piece out. I'm getting ready to eat it. And I opened the refrigerator door. And guess what kind of milk was in there, Josh? Just take a wild guess.
Oh, boy.
What kind of milk was in there?
It was that milk from that dairy?
Well, it was from the grocery store, but it was their milk because they sell it in stores also.
Same thing.
And I'm like, really? Oh, we got no more milk? And she's like, no, and you'll be fine. Drink it. I'm like, I ain't drinking that.
That's good.
All like, if you don't drink that, I'm going to throw it on you or whatever. And I pour some out and I'm, stirring it up, shaking it up, make sure everything's good. And I took a little sip and I'm like, hey, that's actually not bad, but I can definitely tell it's very much more creamy,
Not bad. I got you.
Not bad. What you got? Uh-oh.
Oh, just what you were saying, you finally went. So it's not bad. Yeah.
It's funny. I drank that glass. I did. I drank that glass of milk. And I was like, okay, that's not as horrible as I thought it was going to be. The next day, I'm like, I can do that. I can drink another one. We'll run this out and I'll go back and get good milk, normal milk. And I drank about a half a glass. As I'm drinking it, a big old chunk comes up and slaps me in the mouth. I'm like, ugh. And it gets stuck on the side of the glass. And I'm like, oh, my gosh.
Oh,
what have I done? It just brought back all those memories of clabbered milk. And, I thought I was drinking buttermilk. You don't need milk for that. Oh, it's horrible. But I do admit the milk tastes all right. I think I would still rather have the milk in the store. I don't know. And I grew up in the country. We had
you just said that milk came out of the store, boss.
It did, but I'm talking about the fake milk, not the real stuff. I want the fake milk.
The more processed kind.
Yes, I don't like the cream or whatever. If it's going to be cream, let it be sour cream, okay? Right. Or let it be butter, or let it be cheese or something. However that works, I don't care. And I love cheese, I love butter, and I love sour cream. But no, I'm still not a big fan of finding chunks in my milk at all. All right. So now that we've totally wrecked this show.
Oh no, we're good. We're good.
Oh man. No, it just, it was better. It was better. I will say better than I anticipated it would be. Awkward silence.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I was going to say when you brought up Phil 5 Dime, I was going to say he's also got a YouTube channel you need to check out sometime. If you haven't subscribed to him, it's relatively new. He just had a video that kind of blew up early on him, and
it's shorts, ain't it? He has mostly shorts on there.
Yeah, he's got like None of them are really long. Even his regular videos are like 5 minutes or so. I think he's got 2 or 3 of those, and then shorts. But yeah, he had, I forget how many views he said it got. It was a lot. I think this one's got like 82,000 views. This one short.
Dang, man.
Yeah. So his subs, he went from just getting started to having a pretty good sub count pretty quick. So,
oh yeah, he went over 1,000, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's making us look good. Yeah. We appreciate you, Phil. Man, that's awesome. I'm glad you hit that 1K number. I'm sure. I don't know. I don't wonder how shorts work. It works different on the hours, right? Like you have to have more views, or I can't remember. It's like instead of hours, you have to have something. Anyway, that's for people that make videos. I'm just over doing.
Yeah, it's there's a different thing, but I think once you get monetized, it doesn't matter. I think once you get monetized,
really,
because I noticed that some of my shorts, my old shorts, even though I'm monetized a lot more through my video content, I never got the number of minimum views for the shorts, but I'm still getting, a few pennies on the old ones when they get.
Oh, played. Really?
Yeah,
that's cool.
So yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about videos. I just work one day a week. What do I know?
Yeah, that's right.
Shout out to you. Thank you.
We'll never forget that.
Yeah, I never will. I will let Kevin come down here and hang out with me for 1 week, and just and our church ain't big, man. It's you've been there. It's 40 people ish, and but that's 40 people with issues, life issues that just.
So you're saying your people have problems?
No, they're perfect. Every single one of them are perfect. Angels, never a problem. No, we do have really good people.
I know what you mean.
Everybody has problems.
If you got good people, there's not. Yeah, if you got good people, none of them's going to confess that they don't have any. To be honest, I mean that's just the way it goes.
True.
I think that's where we all meet. It's that level ground at the foot of the cross where we all know that we're insufficient, and without His help, we're just up the creek and don't have any hope at all. So totally
up the creek. Something else. I'm glad you mentioned this too before we started. My reseller Genie. We haven't mentioned them in a pretty good while, but this is the perfect time of year. Honest to goodness. I was thinking about this sometime back, and then you mentioned it a minute ago, and it's nearly the first of the year. Like it is the time to be thinking about taxes. My reseller Genie. If you guys need help, we're not just making a shameless plug. We believe in My Reseller Genie. They've got a really good product. And we have a code down below that you can follow or something like that. I'm not even sure what it is anymore. And we get a little kickback on that. And that was all them. We wanted to support them, and they offered to do that for us. And they're just great people. And they have a really, really good product. And it just blows me away.
It's definitely a good time of year to be looking into it. If you've been thinking about getting any type of accounting software for your business. I mean, I know I like to start things fresh. I hate doing anything like in the middle of a span, like when it comes to accounting. So that's kind of been my plan to try to implement more of their software starting January, because we were kind of middle of the year when all that took place for us. Yeah. And they were introducing it to us. So, I think it's a great time. I mean, we're about to have to do taxes. We're going to be reminded if we don't have a software or a system about how awful it is to go back and get them ready. I mean, you're talking to the guy that just finished last year's taxes in October. Because I got the extension. So, y'all can hate me if you want, but I mean, it's just that's the way it is. I filed the extension. It was good till October 15th, I think. And so, something like that. I just knew that when October hit, I had to get them done. And so if I do these on time, in a timely manner, it's going to be really close together to the time I did the other ones. And
So you don't like doing taxes? Is that what I'm hearing?
I didn't mind until I started having to keep up with the eBay stuff. I've did my own taxes since my very first job.
World, man. It's such a different world.
And I can do it. It's just more time consuming. It just takes a lot of time. And I worry. I get. You start having that anxiety, and I think that's what these programs and softwares and things. They help alleviate that. When you're taking the entire burden on yourself, man, it kind of worries me. Because I'm trying to do it. I'm trying to do it right.
That's why H&R Block makes so much money.
Oh yeah.
We give you the H&R Block guarantee. I mean, they make a killing. They take a big chunk, but then you don't have to worry. Like, okay, well, if I get audited, they're going to be there.
Yep.
Well, if I get audited and I do my own taxes, I'm just going to have to deal with it. and I'm going to have to produce spreadsheets and receipts.
Oh, yeah.
And, so I understand. I get it. It's a,
well, and
people, it's a very legitimate thing,
Right. And, my thing is, I'm not trying to steal anything from anybody, even the government, but I also don't want to let them steal from me, So I want to get it right, or as close to right as possible, within that, percentage point of being just right on. Because I want to pay the share that I'm supposed to pay, but I don't want to pay things I'm not supposed to.
Absolutely.
And that's the hard part, man. I mean, it's hard to know what you qualify for and what you don't sometimes. It's very, very complex. And I probably leave a lot of stuff on the table that I'm just too apprehensive to deal with. I'm like, it's just not worth the risk of getting that part wrong. So I just let it go.
There's a lot of moving parts too. Like, it's not just, do your taxes. Well, when you run a business, you got a lot of deductions.
Yeah.
And it's just hard to know what you're allowed to do. That's the big thing for me. Like this year, we just bought the HVAC unit, and it just so happens, I don't know if it's a federal thing or just a state thing, but we get like a 30% tax write-off right now, an energy deal.
Energy efficient.
Yeah. So it made a lot of sense because I could get 30% of that right back. So that was one reason I went with what I went with. But yeah, it's tough, man. It's tough. One more commercial while we're going. Planes to Profit.
Yeah.
This is the reseller meetup in Omaha, right, Josh?
Yep. 101 days. So about 3 months. It's getting close. March 28th and 29th is when it's going to be held. So it will be in Omaha again. They are hosting out of the Doubletree by Hilton downtown again.
Same place
like last year. Yep. And so they'll have a great event. I don't know what all they've got in store, but I know based on last year, you will definitely enjoy it if you go. Good people. It's not one that's got, by design, they keep the crowd relatively small.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be like going like to Boston, Vegas, or something like that, or I know that Harry Tornado did one in a couple of years, but he has had a couple hundred people. They try to keep it kind of intimate. I think south of 50 people total, counting all the hosts and stuff. So you can actually get to talk to everybody, get to know people. That was important to them. Have time to really be able to visit with everybody and kind of build some relationships during the network. And so, definitely encourage anyone that's in the area or someone that's got the time and money to attend, make the trip. You won't regret it. Great host, great place. Omaha may not sound exciting, but it's a cool place to visit. We drove and I love the drive out there.
Wow.
So,
and you're going to be sourcing. So, hey, it's a tax write-off. Speaking of taxes, it's a tax
Seriously.
write-off.
Yeah. Which means even your hotel. Yeah. All that stuff. Travel can, since it's a work trip, and even the conference part counts as work. It does. I don't know all the intricacies behind that, but I just know that all that stuff is eligible. And what you were mentioning earlier, and I think this is relevant because of the time of year we're in to reselling anyway. I think one of the biggest challenges, and it's probably the most important thing tax wise for us as resellers, other than making enough money to be able to file taxes, that's important. But reducing our tax liability by keeping up with those things, that's probably the thing that benefits us the most. And
absolutely,
you got to keep up with that mileage, got to keep up with those expenses, got to keep up with all that stuff. And make sure that you know what will and will not count, because you might be surprised sometimes
100%.
at the things. Even a meal, like one meal out, if you're out sourcing all day, there's a certain percentage of a lot of that stuff. If you keep up with it, it reduces that tax liability.
People made fun of Kevin. He's talking about Commonwealth Picker. He was on with us last week. Somebody made fun of him one time, or a little joking comment or whatever in one of his videos. They said, Kevin, do you write off your chickens, out in the yard? And he said, absolutely, absolutely. Because they're in his videos. They're part of his content. And I was like, I take that as smart. Like, that's just, it is part of his content. His entire life basically is part of his content. Why would you not? Like, it's legitimately part of his entire content library. So, the part, and people, there's like a million different opinions on that, but I don't do anything illegal. I'm like you. I'm going to give the government what they tell me I have to give, but at the same time, I'm going to try to make sure I don't just overpay, like you said, because it's too tough, man. They already want enough,
Yep.
It's too tough to give them more.
Yeah.
But with Planes to Profit, they have a website, planestoprofit.com or .net. One of the
it is .com. Yeah, Planes, and it's not a 2. It's the word 2. It's all lowercase. Planes TO Profit. And honestly, if you just Google Planes to Profit, it'll
show up.
Yeah, it'll probably be your first result you get on Google. So
the best thing about Planes to Profit, when you go to that page, let me just find it here. When you go to Planes to Profit, I'm just going to tell you the best part. Scroll down about, I don't know, 3/4. It's almost to the bottom. And it says our supporters, right? Our supporters. The third one over is the Two Old Guys Reselling Podcast. That's the best part of that whole page right there.
Yep.
No, I'm just kidding. We're happy to be supporters for their event. And hopefully, man, I have no idea right now. I don't want to lie to anybody and say, oh, yeah, we're going to be there. Hopefully, we will come up with some good news before long about that. But we'll just have to see. And I just now see on here, I didn't see this before, Mike Metco meetups. I don't know if you've seen that the other day.
Oh, yeah, I was about to say the same thing to you.
He put out his first. That's Mike Camparelli. Probably, if we was to rank supporters in our community, he's up there at the top, really, really close. I mean, Mike is a wonderful person. And he put out his first YouTube video the other day. And this is the interesting, I'm intrigued by the content he's going to put out. There is nobody doing this that I know of.
Nope.
And Mike is going to go to these meetups and document the meetup, the before, the middle, the during, and the after. He's going to put out 2 or 3 videos about the meetups. And I mean, he loves going, so it makes perfect sense, Yeah,
he said he's gonna do, videos from before the meetup happens to kind of preview it, build it up, help with that part and promotion of it. And then, like you said, every aspect of it while he's there, multiple videos that have come out that kind of just detail the event itself as it happens, at least from his perspective, And then afterward, he's planning on doing recap, just a recap and summary of that. And maybe even, I think he said something about maybe even having some of the people on that were there or something to talk about it.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds really cool. It really does. I
can't wait to see how that's going to go because I mean, Mike is just is a really good dude. And guess who else is sponsoring? Not that he got enough commercial time last week. Shop Commons, right?
Yeah, right.
Kevin's awesome. We appreciate you being on, Kevin. It was really good.
Yep.
And Mike, can't wait to see, if you're watching, can't wait to see what you come out with on that. But yeah, make sure to go check that out. That website gives you all the information, gives you tickets, pricing, event coordination, plan, schedule, all that. What do they call that? The itinerary or something?
Yeah.
I think that's what it's called.
That's it.
But yeah, if you've never been to a meetup too, Corey and Teresa Grams and Pops are awesome people. Haven't met them in person, but talked to them. We've had them on once. I had them on once before and been over there with Corey and Ken once, I believe, and you've been on with them. So we've got to talk to them several times, and just awesome people. So I don't believe you'll be disappointed if you go hang out with them. And
great supporters of the community, too. They really are. They're in a lot of the lives, always active, supporting, participating, listening. Even when they don't comment, they watch a lot of or let a lot of like a lot of us do. They let a lot of content play while they're working. Yep. So anyway, awesome. Another thing too. I was going. Well, you brought up Kevin, and this may change gears a little bit, which we probably need to do at this point anyhow. I meant to mention this last week. I don't know if you saw this. One of the last things, I think you did like a social media post about this, but also did a video, and I thought it was a really great question. Sometimes we get these things from other resellers, but this one really got me to thinking. And it's the question was, how much can one reseller make in 2025? It's just what is the real possibilities when it comes to a single person, like a one person operation. And at least that's the way I look at it. I mean, and so anyway, I thought that was a really good question. And I don't know, everybody's got there were a lot of different opinions. I thought a lot of them were really interesting.
Sorry.
Well,
phone's ringing.
I'm gonna call you Leroy.
I'm not answering. It's
yeah. I'm just messing. I hope you're watching, Leroy. We love you, buddy.
Yeah.
he's picking a little bit. I know you like to joke around, but yeah, a lot of them. A lot of people were saying that anything over a 40% margin was pretty much impossible. It wasn't possible to do better than that. Wow. And I mean, I don't know. I hear people saying, and I know, I can't tell you what the margin is for me because everything. You can't really know until all your taxes are done and everything. And you have to do some meticulous record keeping to know, like, down to a T.
And it's all backwards work. Like,
it is.
Why am I wanting to look back on something that's not making me money? Right. Like, I'm just doing work for the sake of doing work at that point.
Right. And I don't think he was really meaning like discussing margins. That's wasn't what he was wanting to get caught up in as much as like what kind of actual number do you anticipate? And I don't know. Like I said, I know for me, it's not a very big number, but at the same time, goal wise, I was talking to my wife and I said, for us where we live, income wise in this area and cost of living, if we could get to, and this is kind of going in another way, like not what can you make, but how much do you feel like you need to make based on where you live? And, if I lived in California, it'd be a different number,
Yeah.
Now, if I lived on down at the beach at Alabama, it'd be a different number. But anyway, for us, I told her, I said, if we could clear 50 to 60,000 actual profit, because to do that, I mean, I know for a fact I'm going to have to gross at least 100,000 probably or better to do that. But before, like when I taught, I only grossed 60,000 or less. Like I never even hit 60,000. Honestly, it was in the 50s. So I mean, to be able to actually have a take home of that would be a lot more money than what I was making as a teacher. So I don't know what a typical job, like if you're working for salary, what you ordinarily have to have as a salary to actually have that amount of bring home. I haven't looked into that really. I know me nor my wife have ever had a job that paid enough by, just ourselves to where we had that much bring home by ourselves. It's not even,
right.
So, I mean, that's not been something, I mean, we've had multiple jobs, between the two of us, like 3 jobs or more and get, close to that 6-figure take home between her being a nurse. I don't care. Between her being a nurse and me being a teacher, and then I did side jobs and stuff too, like extra stuff for income. Some of them were only $3,000 or $4,000. And then the last couple of years that I was also doing eBay on the side, combined with that, like we got up close to that range, in terms of a gross, but not in a take home.
No,
not in a take home.
Well, I mean, I tell you how to fix that. Get you a 1-day-a-week job, and you're set.
Yeah. I mean, who wouldn't want that? Yeah. Easiest job in the world, man.
Easy. Gravy. I mean, all I can say is at least I'm not running around stealing from everybody at yard sales. Okay, Kevin?
What do you think, man? I mean, how much do you feel like y'all would need to like your actual take home to feel like you could comfortably?
That question has so many moving parts. It might be different next month, but I'm kind of like you. I kind of feel like if to be comfortable and not have to worry, month to month, year to year, if we could clear basically what you said, 60, I would like to be 70 would be if we could clear $70,000 every year. And that's because, and only because I have a house payment again for a while. If I didn't have the house payment again, I could say 50, or less probably. Because we're not, and I know you're the same. I don't know if you're exactly like us, but you're similar. You and Casey are similar to us that you ain't going out and just spending like $10,000 a month on stuff. No. Like some people are literally spending a lot more than they can.
I mean, we just can't. It's just not a possibility.
And for us, I don't know that we can't, but we at the same time we don't want to. There's not. I'm very content. I actually preached on this last night, being content, being satisfied, but I'm content. I'm not going to lie and say, there's things I don't want. There's things I could definitely say I would like to have, but I don't have to have them. You know what I'm saying? Like
you're not losing sleep over it.
No, I was sitting out here thinking earlier. I was thinking to myself earlier, like, man, it'd be awesome to have a skid steer. Like just have a skid steer out here. I've got a gravel pile I need to spread. I've got dirt I could be moving, cleaning up on the property. It'd be awesome to have one, but guess what? It doesn't make it or break it for me if I get one or not, right? So I'm content if I don't get one. I can go rent one, and I'm good.
Yeah, and that's kind of like me, Caleb. It's like there's things. I think that's the deal. I don't think any of us will ever get to the point to where we don't see something that we could use and say maybe I would like to have that. I mean, I know we're supposed to be content. We're not supposed to covet after anything. That type. I mean, I don't. I mean, that's that. I can't argue with those things. Those are just that's written in stone for me because that's what's in the Bible. But what I mean, there's a different levels, difference between the way I said it, and then when it begins to consume your thoughts, all your ambitions, and like every scheme, every plot, every plan you make is just to acquire this thing that you think is going to fill this void in your life. And I think that's the thing that changes, and not to make this about church or religion, but that's the thing that changes. I mean, having that void's been filled in my life by something a lot more valuable and a lot more meaningful in Christ than something that I can buy. And
absolutely.
I mean, it just I think that's the difference. But it doesn't mean that, like, I could use a brush cutting head on a skid steer right now, but I don't care if I have to pay someone to come do it. It'll be fine. I just want to just keeping things up is all that has to do with. I'm not
them brush cutting heads are cool though.
Man, they're so awesome.
Let's talk about
one out here one time. I had a guy, a young boy I taught. I say young, he's probably 28 or 30. And man, he did more work in a half a day than I could do, in 3 days on my tractor.
I know.
It made me not want to get on the tractor, Caleb. I mean, I was like, I saw that, and I mean, he was like, just flying around. It didn't matter, and I'm thinking, I do this on my tractor. One, it's going to take me 3 or 4 times the amount of time, and 2, I'm going to have to do it again in like a month and a half. When he did it, it was good for the whole season. Like, it was down to the ground, man.
I know. And so I don't have a lot of places I need that. I just need. Have you seen these rakes that'll pick up rocks and sticks like you just comb over it? I need one of those for like a couple days to clean up my dirt spot down here. That way I can grass that and whatever I'm going to do. And I need to install my driveway. Like, I need to do that. But, going back, like, I'm definitely not losing sleep. It's in the agenda. I'm going to do it eventually, but it's not like make it or break it. You know what I'm saying? But we're not jumping onto you if you have stuff. Okay.
Oh, no.
We're happy for you. It's just
what you want.
It's perspective, like being happy and content with the blessings God puts in your life. That's I look back and I think where we came from, and I remember, and I'm sure you do too, like growing up, we never had cable TV till I was nearly a teenager, and we didn't have a telephone in the house when I was a kid. I don't remember ever till I was probably 8 or 9 years old before we got our home telephone, 7 or 8, something like that. And kids nowadays don't know what it is to not have internet, TV, yada yada, whatever. It's just a different world. But I'm thankful for the things we have. I am thankful for the technology I have that I can help supply for my family with it now. This eBay used to not be quite this kind of an option for me. I could sell on eBay, but I had to go to the post office, get them to make a label, pack it for me or what. I mean, it's different. And it's just recognizing your blessings, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, absolutely. I think that does, and everybody's affected differently by it. Like I said, it's not to judge anybody. It's just that's the place I'm at, and I feel like anyway. But it's by the same token, I think it's something that if we're not careful, and I tell our folks at church this a lot when I'm, teaching or giving a little instruction or just a little advice here and there, that it's so easy. It's so easy to think everything's good, content, going along, and then all of a sudden, out of your side view, you say, "Oh, what is that?"
Yeah.
And if you're not really careful, you'll allow something other than the Lord to capture your attention in such a way that you begin to think on that more than you do Him. And that's for me personally, when it becomes a problem for me. And that's I think where it crosses that boundary between, hey, I could use that, and it just becoming what drives you, So anyway,
it happens kind of quick.
It can.
Careful, it definitely can.
I was going to say the 60,000 thing for me. I just going to throw this out there real quick. I think, I think it's like $5,000 a month, like of clear money. And the reason I threw that out there is because, like, in order for us, if we were going to live off of eBay, to me, that doesn't include taking insurance out. And so if we were going to have to also pay for insurance, I'm saying after taxes and everything to be there. And then, like, the way my mind, I know the insurance would come out before tax, like you would get a break. But I'm just saying, like, in my mind, I have to think of it, okay, how much would I need to have left and then be able to cover, like, health insurance? And I think at $5,000 a month, we could do that. I'm not saying we're going to have a ton of money, a ton left over. But I think that's the entry level for us. Because, you take a job like I had teaching where you can make, gross like 50,000. The thing that you don't always account for in that salary number, even though, my bring home wasn't that big, is the amount that they're spending to provide you insurance, the amount they're spending to provide you retirement if you stay and if you go out in the business on your own with eBay or anything else, you have to factor those things in. You've got to be able to make enough, not just to pay yourself for today, to pay your bills, but to pay for your own health care, to pay for your own retirement down the road. Like, all those things become your responsibility. And that requires a bigger income than what you can live off of working for someone else that provides those things for you, obviously,
Very much so. So yes, before you decide to be a full-time eBay reseller, think about that. Because that's serious. Like, think about it. Because Tanya, the first year when I couldn't work, the first year, her insurance was like $300 a month. The second year it was like $650. This last year, when she changed jobs, it was going to be $2,000 a month. Like, we couldn't pay $2,000 a month for insurance. So she swapped jobs, got insurance with the new job, and pays $200 a month.
Yep.
And it's just, I guess it depends on where you live, things like that. Because I know certain people have higher costs of living, and they have higher premiums, and they have higher just everything.
Sure.
And, where we're at, we kind of got a couple of the better, I feel like, I don't know the rankings or anything, but I feel like Tennessee and Alabama are probably two of the lower cost of living states to be in. That's just a guess. I don't know.
Well, Tennessee's probably actually somewhere in the middle, I bet, by now, because there's enough affluent regions in Tennessee. It's kind of, it's kind of lifted it up, but definitely it's definitely not in the top third. I would say.
What was that word? Affluent? Affluent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a teacher word right there.
Affluence.
What does that even mean?
Well-to-do, wealthy, high-paying.
So kind of like common wealthy picker. I'm going to buy. I sit there.
I think you're bitter about that comment.
No,
you just didn't want to tell him when he was on the show.
I let him buy last week, right? And I got to think about it. I'm like, I'm just going to beat on him.
I'm going to do this for you, Kevin. I'm just going to cry foul.
I just decided, I was going to let him slip, and now I'm just going to beat on him when he's not here. He can't fight back,
You're like the new Dave and Carey today.
No, come on. I'm a lot better looking than those guys.
Well, that's not what we're evaluating it on.
A lot taller, a lot better looking. I don't know if I'm smarter. I won't go that far. Okay.
Well, it means a lot when it's best of the best, but when it's best of the worst, it don't mean as much.
Yeah, that's true. You got something there. Oh my goodness! What a show! What a show! What you been selling, man?
What I've been selling, man. I wish I was selling more than I am. I've been selling a lot of cheap stuff that's not making me much money. I mean, all kidding aside, it had been really doing well for me for a couple of weeks, and I did sell stuff this week, but my sales, I've had a few decent sales. I mean, but nothing over $100, and the bulk of what I sold this last week has been in that, $15 to $25 range, which is good. Don't get me wrong. I'm glad to make any sale, but if you sell a whole lot of that stuff, by the time, everything comes out, it's just not a big payout. But I've also been dealing with returns and cancellations and stuff that this last week. And two of the returns I dealt with were like $100, right at 100. One of them was like 85, I think. And the other one was like 100 and something. So, I mean, in the same week that I didn't get $100 sale, I basically got two returns that were right at 100, collectively $100 average. And then I had, like I said, two orders that canceled on me after. I mean, I don't ship same day, next day. I do 3-day shipping. I don't always wait 3 days. I just have it set for 3 days. Usually it's the next day, no more than 2. But before I could, package and ship, I had 2 good orders that were canceled. And then like one of them was an offer. Like they made the offer, I accepted the offer, and then and then it's like I accepted a price I didn't really want to take on the thing, and they're like, "Nah, I changed my mind." Come on,
that absolutely drives me nuts when they do that. It's like, why would you waste your time? Not even my time. Why waste your time?
Yeah,
making an offer that you're not going to follow through with. Why don't you just not? Because and what bothers me about cancellations, it screws up your payout.
Okay.
If you was getting ready to get payouts that day, you just refunded that and it kicks it back like a day or 2.
So let me throw this in there. And I'm interested to hear if any of you that are watching or listening this week have any input on this. I'm not a conspiracy theory person, but I've heard others talk about this type of stuff before and how it impacts. So seriously, within about a 3-day period, now the returns have been requested, but they hadn't been processed. So they hadn't showed up in my account yet. But at the 2 returns showed up within the like one day, one the next. I had the 2 cancellations on that second day. And I also had a Vero for a product that had been put on recall. It's been in my store for 1.5 years, but I think what happened, should have probably got rid of it anyway. My wife bought it because it's a product that they use healthcare wise, but they recently issued a recall on it, and I wasn't in trouble for it. They just took it down because there's a recall issued on that product. And so it wouldn't, but I do know that all that negative activity. So, that was like 4, what they classify as kind of semi-negative activities, I think. And my sales for about 2.5, 3 days I went from like, doing really good to like, it just went. I was getting I couldn't send out. I had maybe 2 offers to send out. I was getting almost nothing. Like I went from getting like 8 and 9 sales a day to like maybe 1 sale a day for about 3 days. And then it's picked back up again,
I think it was Lonnie and Candace at Shed Clips. I think he talked about it one time that returns come in 3 or bad things come in 3 for him. They come by 3s. And if you think about it, I've had that happen a lot. I've went for month, 2 months, 3 months, no returns. And then all of a sudden, boom, boom, boom. I'll get 2, 3, 4 returns.
Well, mine came in 5 this week.
See,
2 cancellations, 2 returns, and a Vero.
It really does feel like it comes kind of all at once. And I don't care what anybody says. There's never a good time to get a return.
No,
it don't matter if it's when you've got tons of money in there. It's still not convenient. And that's another thing, man. It kills me when I really take issue with eBay's return policy. Why does anybody need 3 full weeks to send something back? Like if they're in the middle of nowhere and it takes them 2 hours to drive to their post office or their whatever drop off point. 7 to 10 days would be very adequate, right?
I think when you get 30 days to decide that you just decided you don't like it, that a week's plenty of time.
I think so.
You've already got 30 days, but from the time that it arrives to decide whether or not you really want it. So
you've really got, to be straight up true and honest about it, you really got 90 days on eBay before the order completely goes off the system, which it don't completely go off, but it goes off of your order system. They got 90 days. All they got to do is go in there and do an INAD and say it's not as described, and eBay will turn around and give them their money back. And it's like, I just think they've gotten so big they don't care about that part, because it don't matter enough. It's kind of like their international returns. They just give the stuff, they give you your money back and they don't make them send it back. I don't know what they do over there, but it just seems crazy to me. I don't know.
Well, and I'll be honest, it benefits us that they favor the buyers. I know some are not going to like me saying that probably, but as a seller, it makes the platform more respectable, more trustworthy. It makes buyers in general. There's bad buyers. There's bad sellers too, though, by the way. There's bad ones on both sides.
Yeah.
But, as a whole, we sell enough stuff. We know that there's way more good buyers than bad buyers. If it was all bad buyers, we wouldn't be, getting nitpicky over having 1 or 2 negative reviews out of 1,000.
Right.
Right. So, and that's that you probably got to sell 3 times that number of goods to get 1,000 reviews anyway,
Yeah.
So, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, we deal with more good buyers than not. And the policies being set up like they are give buyers confidence to use eBay and to prefer it over other platforms. So we benefit from that. But I'm like you. I feel like sometimes it's just, I don't think they have to go as far as they do to still I don't think it would cost them buyers to narrow that down to a couple of weeks, at least. I mean, I don't think they'd lose anything.
I mean, yeah, if you're the buyer, that's an awesome policy. I think it's 3 weeks of business days too, right? Because it ends up being like 25 days.
Yeah, that's a long time.
By the time and what kills me, I think you alluded to this a minute ago, they can wait till the day before the expiration date, pack it up and send it back the day before. They can hold on to that thing for an extra 3 weeks, 25 days or whatever. So that makes eBay like the greatest rental platform of all times. Like,
yeah. So if they've got my DVD VCR combo player that quote unquote don't work, that they don't tell you about till they've had it 25 days, right? And then they wait another 3 weeks to ship it.
They've got it for 2 months.
Yeah. I mean, anything they want, if it does work, I'm saying that wasn't a problem. Anything they wanted to transfer from VHS to DVD is done. They've had all the time in the world to get it done. They didn't even have to get in a hurry.
I know.
I mean, heck,
when
if
I heard
really wanted to do it, they could do it probably in a week anyway, know. But I mean, they got to set up. They don't have to get in a hurry.
I think it was Chris, Old School Picker, that pointed that out one year. He sold a Halloween mask or costume or something, and he pointed it out, like how somebody had bought it a couple weeks before Halloween, and the day after or 2 days after Halloween, they opened a return. And that's probably the worst time of year for that stuff. But it brings up a good point. Like, that creates its own little problem. And I don't know. I am kind of a conspiracy theorist. You said you wasn't. I kind of am. In a way.
I'm not superstitious about things.
I'm not superstitious, but I think.
Oh, you think you can touch something and sell it? Come on.
I do. I did. I touched something the other day and it sold, and it had been in my store for a year. So I was like, I'm touching everything.
Well, I mean, if that's the case, then I've been going through old inventory and I've touched all of it that I've so far.
Don't work.
And I've sold a bunch of it.
You have to be this tall to ride the ride, sir. It don't work for you. Yeah. Bye. I drunk the milk. I did.
Dude.
Oh. Hey.
And what did you do at the window a while ago because of all that forehead?
I'm shining. Let's do this, okay? It's bright. Look at how bright my hand is there.
It was so bad earlier I couldn't even see. I was having to squint.
Oh my gosh. That's so rude. Oh
man.
So you say your sales are down, returns are bad, all that good stuff. I exploded. Like, okay, probably $1,000 in sales since last. This is Monday when we record. Probably since last Wednesday. Yes. Oh.
I hope this makes everybody else feel as good as it did me, because it did a thing for me paying my bill. But go ahead and share it with us.
I'm not bragging.
I know. I'm just playing with you.
This is to point out. Okay.
This is so sensitive, Caleb. I'm just.
I'm not being sensitive. Good Lord, have mercy. Don't get short with me, sir. Okay. No. Okay. We've done well since.
I done messed him up.
Yeah, I've forgot where I was going with this.
You've made a lot of money. Sales have been booming. Hundreds of dollars every day.
Shut up. What are you talking about? I done messed up my screen and everything. And I don't know what I'm doing.
Oh, do you have a spreadsheet you're going to share detailing it all?
I had my eBay page up over here. I was going to. Okay, so it all started last Monday. I was telling you, listed a bunch of stuff. I intended to list all week, every day I could, and that didn't happen. I listed that one day, but I listed 24 listings for $2,300. Well, then I sold a couple things, nothing spectacular between that period of time for a couple days, just kind of moderate sales. Then I sold a brass bell. I don't know if did I talk about that last week? Did that sell?
I think you mentioned, I think you might have mentioned it.
Yeah.
No,
I didn't. No.
You sure?
I may have mentioned it to you. I didn't mention it.
Okay. I got you.
But it's a vintage brass sailor's bell. I've had this thing for over a year, but it's really neat. You hang it on a post, hang it on the wall, whatever, and it's like a 6-inch bell. It sold for $260.
You sent that to me. That's what it was. You sent
That's what it was. Then I sent you a picture of the 2 LPs, the record sets. One was, they're both rare. Like, I didn't know what I had. I knew they were good, but I didn't know how good they was until I started listing them, because they were great.
It's all coming back now, because I remember I was in the midst of all these returns and cancellations and over there working and listing. I get this message, and after I look at it, I just went and sat down and quit for the day. I was like, this is over. I'm done. It's not worth it. It's just not. Anyway.
You work hard, you'll get a shiny forehead like me, okay?
Just for those that don't know, I don't take my hat off a lot.
You got hair. Mine's kind of running away. It's all running away. But no, I sold. Be on the lookout for these things too, if you ever find them. Songs for John Doe by the Almanac Singers. It is a record, 3-piece record set. That sucker sold for $300.
Yep.
And when I bought them at the yard sale, there were 4 of them. And I bought all 4. I said, how much you want for these? $1 a piece. I'm just like, these are neat. And I bought them. I had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
So when I was listing them the other day, this one has sold for over $400 through an auction website in really good condition. Mine had a small tear. So I knocked it down a little bit. And I got a sale going too. But sold that. I sold another one called Leadbelly Songs, folk songs by Leadbelly. $72 for that one. I mean, just good stuff. Tanya sold a bunch of silverware, 5 spoons, 2 spoons for $120. I mean, she sold, what is that? A hen shaped, what do they call those? Mortars, where you grind up in a little bowl with a wooden handle thing.
Mortar and pestis.
Yeah. Sold that for $63. Just good sales,
Yeah.
Really good. She sold more silverware, several more sets. I mean, she's killing it on silverware. But yeah, we had a really, really good week. That's all I've sold today, silverware.
Really?
Sets of forks and a set of knives, and I'm up to $170 for the day. I'm telling you guys, if you have silverware where you're at that you can buy at yard sales or thrift stores, do a little bit of homework and buy it. It's not bad.
Yeah,
man.
You kind of got me inside. I went back to. I'll probably do a video on it sometime this week. I haven't had any time hardly to do any filming and videos here lately. It's been tough. But anyway, I'm going to try to get one out this week. I went back to the guy that I had bought that original big set of music from. I think this is the 3rd or 4th time now that I bought from him. But his dad was just a big collector of stuff, and he, instead of like doing an estate sale, he pretty much just unpacked his dad's house, put it in a storage building in his house. And he's just been slowly digging out, over time. And we've kind of built a relationship. And again, I mentioned this in a video I did a long time back, but man, I'm telling you, there's no substitute for just trying to be good to people, building relationships, and not take advantage of it. I'm just talking about just genuinely trying to be good to folks. Yep. And man, you can build relationships that will be profitable on both ends.
What's his name?
I don't remember.
What's his number?
I forgot that too.
What's his address?
I can't tell you. I can't tell you.
I just want to visit for a few minutes.
It's too far for you, Caleb.
Oh, it's never too far.
But no, I mean, this guy was so nice. Like this last time, he said, dude said, even if I can't be there, he said, you let me know when you're coming. I'll make sure and let the neighbors know so nobody thinks anything's going on. I'll leave the shed unlocked. You can go out there, go through everything. And, just stack up whatever you're interested in. And when I get off, I'll come in and make you a price or whatever. Like of course I don't want to do that, I mean, just for me, that's how trustworthy the connection has become between us. And, but that being said, I got a truckload of stuff again, bed and cab both, and spent another $500 there with him. And, I guess I was bringing that up. I was thinking about, it's so interesting, the things that you run across. And you were talking about the bell and then those records. And I bought more CDs while I was talking to Phil, who we mentioned a while ago, Phil 5 and Dime.
Yeah.
And he had posted something on Facebook and showing, said just a little short that, he was cleaning, like redoing CDs while he was listing, and he said just puts one in between listings, to go and get them ready. CDs and games and stuff. And so I asked him about the machine he was using, because when I've looked them up, they've been like $500, $600, $700. A lot of the ones I wasn't real confident in, some of the ones I hadn't heard of. And so I asked him about his. Well, he said $200 or less, and then sent me some comps. So I'm excited. I'm going to order one of those. And I said all this to get to this place. You mentioned the records, and of course, I had that big buyout of records, and there's a lot of folk records in that. I don't think I got the one you said, but it's got me a little bit excited about maybe comping those out now.
Yeah.
And I still haven't listed any, but I did. And this is another good, seasonal story. I did get my spin clean machine. And so Chad Quirky Picker had told me about it. It's a really, low dollar machine, but they've been around a long time. It's all manual. And I didn't want to spend the money out on the other one yet. I thought about getting, one that's automatic, but
right.
It's got the manual spin clean. But anyway, mine came in. And so yesterday when I was coming in from church, well, here you go. My truck is also giving problems. I don't know if I told you that or not.
Oh, no.
So I went and picked up. I'm going around in circles. I will get to the point in a minute. So Saturday, Friday, I went to Amory. That's where the city is in. Friday, I went to Amory, and I made that deal with this guy. I bought stuff. Got back. I had to unload. Usually, I let my truck carry it for a while. I had to unload everything because, one, it's supposed to rain. Two, I had to use my truck the next day to go get firewood. And so early Saturday morning, then I got up, went to my uncle's house, got the trailer. He had my mom's trailer over at his house. So we swapped out, got it. He rode with me, went about 45 minutes from home. A guy that I know, his sister was one of my coworkers at the school. And so anyway, he logs and stuff, does firewood on the side. I went in, got 2 baskets of firewood, put them on the trailer, started on the way home. And man, my truck went to missing so bad. The check engine light started flashing. I mean, like steering wheel was shaking, the hood was shaking. We didn't know if it was going to make it home.
Man.
So I got home, unhooked from it, parked it, called the mechanic I normally use. It's local, and he come out. He was eating in town because it's Saturday. He said, I'll just come by after I eat and check it out. Well, he thinks that maybe just a tune up, but I've got one of those, variable engine where it does the V8 to V4 back and forth. And the bottom end of those, mine's got like 130,000. Bottom end is bad to go out. You have to get new cam lifters and stuff like that, which is, for him not going to a big shop, it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $2,000. Yeah. Tune-up's a couple $100, so I'm hoping that the tune-up is going to take care of it. He said he didn't hear any noise, but I had that to deal with anyway. So I told that because I had to have a vehicle to use this week. And so my uncle that rode with me, I called them. They have a car. Neither one of them work because I got a truck and a car. Asked if I could borrow the car for the week. And so my aunt drove the car to church last night, and then I drove her home and brought the car home. On my way in the car, I'm driving this unfamiliar car, and on my way in from the car, there's this big box truck coming out our driveway with its emergency flashers on, just barely moving. I had to wait on it. I thought, of course, deliveries happen all the time this time of year, right? Even late night on a Sunday. I mean, this is late. This is like 7 o'clock on a Sunday evening. So I turn in. I stayed down the driveway. There's a house right at the end of the road. There's another little house a little ways past it. Well, there's a trailer and then another house. And the second place, the trailer that sits there, that lady's car, I see this. They've left a package on the trunk of her car. She's got a covered porch. They didn't even walk into the door. I mean, it's been raining for 3 days. It's misted off and on all day. They set a package, an Amazon package, on the trunk of the car. I come on out to the house, and I just got to thinking. I thought, well, we've got like, 6 or 8 different things that's supposed to be in transit, from what I've ordered to other stuff. And I thought, well, maybe I should just look and see if something of mine delivered. And so I looked up. That was my package.
Oh my gosh.
It literally, I was coming in at like 6:50. It said delivered at 6:45 and left on the front porch. It was sitting on the trunk of the neighbor's car. They didn't even come all the way out the road to my house.
Man.
So anyway, Casey got in her car and went out and checked, and went ahead and picked it up and brought it back to the house. But that was my spin clean machine. So I got my thing to clean my records. I decided I wanted to wait until I could get one of those and get it in and do a clean, since I have so many.
Yeah.
So, I'm going to try to, maybe of an evening, start doing like maybe 10 or 15, however many I can do, and lay out and let them dry good.
Yeah.
And then I'll go into my listing phase. So I'll list through the day, but then try to run a few of those before bed, let them dry overnight, re-sleeve them, put them up the next morning. And then I'll have some I'll get in the phase of listing those now. And so I'm kind of excited about that. Get some of those finally listed, start recouping some of that big investment. But not been stressed out over it. I got plenty of inventory to list. So Anyway, long story.
So that makes me think about something. I've had this issue for a while. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one that's having it, but when I ship media, especially books, and it more so happens with books, a lot of times eBay won't give me the option for media mail. Do you ever have that problem?
Won't give you the option for media mail.
Yeah, like certain categories it won't even give you the option. It won't even.
Well, I've never had it with a book. What kind of book are you talking about?
If I don't even remember now, it's just I can't remember, just a book.
I know there are some things that we would consider, kind of like video games. They don't count as media.
Yeah.
There's certain things that if it's listed in the proper category, then it doesn't classify as true media shipment. And so I know that does happen sometimes. That's why I was asking.
This was legitimate media, but it's just like, I don't know if I put it in the wrong category or
I bet I bet sometimes too, that's what I was going to say. Sometimes I think certain items of media, when they can cross over categories, I think some resellers maybe post them in other categories to try to get more attention through the certain, like, maybe, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I've had that happen.
That might be what happened to you on some of that,
But see, I've had it happen, like sell a toy and I get the option to use media mail. And I'm like, why in the world is it giving me, literally sell Michelangelo, and it'll give you the option to ship him media mail. But then I sell this book and I have no option. And I'm like, which I don't do a lot of media mail anyway, but
yeah,
UPS Ground Advantage for me usually beats media mail on certain books. Usually. Now, when you get up in the weight, media mail usually comes back and beats it. But the last few times I've had that, I haven't had the option. Well, I mean, it does depend on your location.
No, I was going to say, it's funny how it works, Caleb, because I ship a lot of media.
Yeah, that's why I asked you.
So, like, I don't know the exact precision of it, but like 8 ounces and under, if it's 8 ounces and under in a really small package, generally, I mean, there's times it's not, but especially the ones that ship closer to home, a lot of times it might just be a quarter, or 15 cents or 30 cents, but they're generally always cheaper when they're that small to ship USPS Ground Advantage than they are to ship media. But then when it switches over past 8 ounces, it's substantial, like $1 difference or so.
Yeah.
Up until you get to, like, say, maybe it's like, I think it's 8 pounds. There's a weight at which from like 8 to 10 or 11, somewhere in there, there's a range again to where you can actually save a couple of bucks on USPS Ground Advantage versus media. But then if it goes past the next tier weight, then it gets to be a huge difference between media and Ground Advantage again. So there's two areas. There's a low weight class, and then there's a mid-tier weight class that I've encountered where there's a cost savings to use USPS Ground Advantage over media.
Yeah, I have noticed that too. One more thing. Did you notice Tennessee made the playoffs and Alabama didn't? Sorry.
I mean, it happens.
I mean, it does.
It is what it is. I mean, if it's going to be us or them, it should have been them because they won this year. So, I mean, that's the way it goes.
Go big one.
But, we don't need to turn this into this. No, I'm not even. No, I'm good. It don't even bother me. I do think it's like this. I don't know how other people feel about that follow sports. I think that it was a train wreck. The committee stuff this year. I think it was turned into a train wreck. It was too much. Yeah. And I know there's a lot of people out there that are absolute haters of all things SEC or all things Big Ten. But I mean, the truth is the truth. And it's like I was telling my brother, about certain things. I said, there's certain things there's opinions you can argue with, but there's numbers that cannot be argued with.
Yeah.
And you can try to make an argument, but at the end of the day, the numbers are the numbers.
Yeah.
And I do think I think the way they got it arranged, I think it's just set it up to be a problem if they're going to do 12 teams. I think because they are entitling too many teams that have potential to be completely undeserving of a spot.
Yeah.
I know Clemson won the ACC, and I don't think we should necessarily go over Clemson. And that's my point. That there's several teams, I think, that if you're doing your best 12 teams,
that
are better than Clemson. Now, I know they did that auto qualifier type thing for league champion for those because that kind of follows the model of the basketball tournament.
Yeah.
But the basketball tournament's got like 70 teams in it.
Is it 7? Ain't it like it's
they increased it again, didn't they? Because
really?
64 is the main thing, but then they got kind of that play-in weekend, where they have the teams. So I mean, I think it was 68, but I think they were I may be wrong. I'm not trying to say I know. I hadn't looked it up for this year, but it seems like they were going to increase that a little bit, the play-in part. But I may be wrong. But I think it's been being 68, and of course 64 was the traditional field.
Yeah.
And the increase for them was because of all the different leagues and auto qualifying. It makes it, where they can make sure they get the best teams in. But either way, my point is this: if the whole goal was to make sure that we got the best teams, then I think if you're arguing over who's number 12, it probably don't matter because number 12 probably doesn't have a chance of winning it.
Yeah, probably not.
But I do think in the SEC this year, if the SEC is the top conference, like I'm saying, if that's the case, then I think your top 6 teams in the SEC on any given weekend, the ones that we watch play, when you get to Georgia, Texas, even A&M, Tennessee, Alabama, you get that group of schools, Ole Miss, you lump all those together. I think nobody would want to risk their livelihood on any singular weekend with those teams.
No.
Like saying this one or that one will win. I mean, they're that close. I do think there's a tier of how good they are within that, but there's such little separation between the bottom and the top that on any given weekend, and some match up better with each other than others do. I just think this year is tough.
It's a tough division for sure. Like the SEC is the toughest, I think, the toughest division to play out of. Because, Tennessee had a fair year. I mean, they're ranked number 6 or 7.
Oh, they had a great year.
They had a good year. They had some growing pains, which is normal and be expected. But, I mean, just like what happened, here comes Arkansas, swoops in and beats them. Like, that is the SEC in a nutshell. It can happen. Yep. I told my son, I'm like, now I'm worried, and he was worried about Vanderbilt. I'm like, Vanderbilt could beat us because they had a good year. They had a good team. And I'm like, they could come in here and just beat us. But did you see, I heard about this on the news this morning. I just pulled it up. The Lady Vols basketball team.
Oh, yeah.
They destroyed NC Central 139-59 the other night. And what was neat, and I'm not just bragging about our teams, they had 30 3-pointers in that game?
I think so.
They broke, I think what they said is they broke the record for all college, all NBA, and all WNBA, most threes in a single game. I was like, that is insane. 139 points. That's probably knocking on the door of being one of the highest scores recorded in a basketball game, much less a college basketball game, because that's NBA high-scoring game numbers right there.
Yeah, the Mavs and the Warriors played the other night in the NBA, and they broke the combined record for threes in the NBA game. It's 48 3-pointers made between the two teams.
Wow.
Yep. Doncic had he had a triple-double. I think he had a 40-point. I looked at it. I can't remember the stat sheet now, but I think it's like 42 or 45. Had like a 40-point triple-double. I mean, it's a killer game. But, yeah, three-point shot is – go ahead.
That's crazy. The NBA record is – for a single game points record is 370. The 1983 season, the Pistons and the Nuggets was 186-184. That's a bunch of points, man.
That's an all-star game number.
Yeah, that's that's like, we don't care. Let's not play defense. Let's just run up down the court and lay it up. And that's crazy. But yeah, I was really blown away with that Tennessee score. And then I heard that they broke the record. I'm like, that's insane stuff right there, man.
That's cool stuff for sure.
Yeah.
So let me throw something out, drop something on some of you. I don't have one on me, but you can look it up. Something I found while I was doing that buy this week. I picked up some Disney stuff. There's just a little small box. The guy had been a part of the Disney movie club for a while, the father of this dude. And so anyway, there were some pins in it, some Disney pins, but they were all the movie club edition stuff. And then there were these 3D lenticulars. I'm not real familiar, but it's like the hologram style cards, but they're bigger. Yeah. And I didn't think much of them. I just asked if he wanted to sell those too, and he said sure. And so I put them in the stack. And I got home, and I'd never come to any of them, never had really seen them, knew anything about them. Some of y'all listening may be very familiar, but got to looking them up. And at least the ones that I have, I think maybe being movie club editions sent out to those that were in it are a little bit more rare. And I didn't look all of them up, but the ones that I found were comping between $35 and $75 each. And I got like at least maybe 15 of them.
That is awesome. So, I love finding stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, so watch out for stuff. You just never know what you're going to run up on. I mean
that's just like a buy and buy kind of thing, like, oh, that's neat. I'll buy that too, and you get home and it's a very pleasant surprise.
Exactly. I just threw it in hoping to make an extra $50, maybe if I could lot it together. That's what I was thinking. I'll just put all this stuff together on a table, take one big picture and see if I can get $50 for it. I looked it up and I thought, holy cow. First one I looked up was $50.
That's awesome. I love it. That's great.
I'll take that. But anyway, look out for them. They're really cool too. I mean,
I like
the kind of stuff I have a hard time even getting rid of because they're so awesome.
I know.
I mean, they're really cool.
I do the exact same thing. You just want to hold on to it for a while. Yeah. Okay, one more. I'm going to stab at Kevin one more time in this show. Then I'm going to be finished, and I'm going to forget about it, and I'm going to forgive him and move on with my life. But
the Bible teaches forgiveness.
It does.
Very strongly.
I'm trying, okay? No, okay. I'm going to read this comment that Reality Smacks You left for us here the other day. He said, good tip, Kevin. Speed up the shows. Now I might have time to watch yours, LOL.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. And Kevin actually commented back and said, fair. And I never realized that we talk so slow. I feel like I talk okay.
I think you sped up since I've been on here a little bit. A little bit. Yeah, a little bit. No, I mean, for me, and I said this last week, and I forget what Kevin said. He didn't really go along with it too much, but I mean, I really did. Like I thought about, pacing is important. The pacing, whether it's too slow, too fast, all that, it really is important. If I turn a television show on and the plot's moving too slow, I ain't going to watch it long. I'm going to say, I forget that.
Yeah.
I mean, we do it a lot, even if it's, we try to be careful about what we watch. We watch stuff. We don't watch stuff that's not, but like sometimes it's just like, we'll watch about 15 minutes. I'll look at my wife and I'll be like, is this not putting you to sleep? Because I'm not ready to go to sleep. So let's do. If we're going to watch something, let's choose something else. So I know I don't want to be that way in what we do on the podcast or in what I produce for my video content on my channel. And I do think pacing, because of that, getting to the point is important. And how fast we talk. You don't want to talk so fast that people can't understand you. Correct. And some of my early videos, I felt like sometimes I was verging on that. Like if they weren't really dialed in, it'd be like, it'd go, and it'd be like, wait a minute. Especially with my accent, because
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, you don't do that anymore.
I don't do that. Okay. No, hey, speaking of good shows, so I've seen this show like 2 times. I'm actually watching it through again. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it, but it's on BYU TV. It's called Granite Flats. Have you ever heard of that show?
I have heard of it, yes.
It is so good. You need to watch it. It's a really clean, family-oriented show.
Yeah.
Of course, everything on BYU, it's owned by the Mormons, I think, ain't it?
Yeah.
That network. And this is like Brigham Young TV, whatever. Anyway, thanks for pointing that out. And the show is set, I'm guessing, like
owned by the Mormons.
The Mormons. It's Brigham Young, yeah.
No, it's just the way you said it. It's like
I don't want to offend anybody. I don't want to be like, hey,
I know. It's fine. Folks, it's innocent. J-Rod, if you happen to ever listen or carry it, is innocent.
Yeah, I'm not making fun of anybody. I'm just saying, I'm pretty sure it's the Mormon-owned network. Okay, whatever. But the show is set, like, I think in the 60s, 70s, something like that. And it's just such a good, like you just talked about the plot. It carries on. It's only 3 seasons long, and they ended it before they got to the end of anything really, really, really good. And I was like, man, I want that to keep going for at least, like, give me a special 2-hour edition that ends everything. But it leaves you on a cliffhanger, and they decided not to renew. But it's been out for like 10 years. It's a really good show, though. I've watched it through a couple times. And like I said, I'm watching it through again because it's just a cool show.
I feel like any show on any network that is good enough to last 3 seasons or more they should get a advanced, if they come to the point they're going to cut it, I think they should be notified in time to be able to adequately draw it to a close within 2 or 3. You know what I mean? To give it closure. I hate that. I hate when you get you really get into one.
Yeah.
And then you're ready, when's that next season coming out? And you're like,
it's not.
They canceled it?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I don't know if he lived.
Yeah, did he? Now you guys make it up in your mind. I don't want to make it up in my mind. Yeah. I don't know what happened, Right. I mean, at least give me that 2-hour special, where you can cap this off and come up with some stupid ending. Real, at least something, All right. So I got a question for you.
What you got?
Is Google male or female?
Depends.
Oh, you don't know?
Mm-mm.
It's female.
It is?
Because it don't let you finish a sentence before making a suggestion. Oh, there's your dad joke. Boom. Yeah, I came out of left field on that one.
Son. Yeah, you sure did. You sure did. I didn't know we weren't going to lead into those. I see how it is.
Oh, yeah. I just smack.
Yeah.
That makes me the winner automatically.
Good thing it wasn't a great dad joke.
Oh, thanks for that. I've quit trying to be good at it. I didn't know he was going to be good at it anymore.
Well, mine's not quite such a, dad joke. But let me throw this at you. So one night a lady came home from her weekly prayer meeting. She found that she was being robbed, and so she shouted out, Acts 2:38, repent, be baptized, your sins will be forgiven. Well, the robber quickly gave up. The lady rang the police. While handcuffing the criminal, the policeman said, man, you gave up pretty easily. How come you gave up so quick? The robber said, well, that woman said she had an axe and 238s.
Yeah. I like it. Yeah, I like it. Axe, 238s.
So she had an axe and 238s. I like it.
That's nice. Yeah. Don't mess with her. Oh, well, yeah. Good show. Good show.
I like it.
Yeah. All right. Well, anything to cap us off before we head out?
I guess not. I've ranted enough, I think. Are you ready for Christmas?
No.
Guys, it's on us. What about those of you still listening? All three of you that watched to the end. I mean, golly. We went Christmas.
We've got, I'll say this and I'll shut up, but we got my nephew, my niece, and my wife all have their birthday. My nephew, 12th, Tanya's 14th, and my niece 17th in December. So within a week, 3 birthdays. And then we got Christmas 9 days later. I mean, December is like a gut punch around here for us. It's just a lot all at once. And you got a Christmas play at church. And you got family functions. It's just a busy month.
For real.
So you guys are lucky you got 2 weeks in a row out of me this time, okay? That's all I got to say.
Wow.
I'm going to try to be a better podcaster. I'm going to try not to be so lazy.
I remember a time when you were talking to me about possibly being on this show, and you really emphasized the importance of being committed and that we record every week. And
I never said that. If I did, I lied. It's okay.
No, you said family would always come first, but you evidently, what'd you name your building there?
Family.
Caleb bought a house and gave birth to a building.
I had to. There was no other way.
Yeah, it's good to be on a couple weeks in a row, though. I tell you, I miss the interaction. So,
me too.
You said it earlier. One of my best friends, and it's great to be able to hang out.
One. Wait a minute. I need to be number one. Okay?
I'm just blessed, man. I don't like choosing favorites, and God has blessed me with good friends.
You have to pick me. That's a requirement.
You're just gonna have to get over that one.
It's like I heard one
Even
time.
Jesus picked 12. I mean, give me a break.
Right. It's like I heard one time. If you can count on your hand true friends, that you're blessed. And I mean, I can count on both my hands.
Yep.
I'm like you. I consider you one of my best friends, but I am blessed to have good people in my life. Absolutely.
Me too.
And a lot of them are people we've interacted with right here, and I'm just thankful for them.
And some we've never even got to be around. I mean, whether it's, Will, Nathaniel, some of these that's been with the show a long time, and I mean, before me, but that I've got to, have a relationship with because of that. I mean, they're just some awesome folks, and who knows, maybe one day we'll get to hang out, but if not, I'm thankful for the part we do get. So
absolutely,
Phil, it's like these, I mentioned earlier, like Chad Quirky Pickerman, him's talked a good bit off and on. He's helped me out. Phil just out of the blue reached out. I sent him a message to thank him for the sticker, and and then I asked him about that machine. He just messaged me. People are so kind, man. I mean, it's not hard to make friends.
You know what Chad's doing for me?
What's he doing?
Me up. He's sending me a joke book.
Oh, wow.
He's going to make it where I'll never lose.
That's debatable.
That is debatable. No, he reached out and he said, "Hey, if you'll give me your address, I'll send you this." And I'm like, "That's really
I don't
cool.
know if I appreciate that or not. He didn't reach out to me about one.
Well, I mean, Phil reached out to you. Okay, everybody likes one of us better than the other. It's okay. I'm not crying that
the result of the conversation of mine with Phil is me having to spend $200. Caleb, there's a difference, man.
There's a difference.
He didn't say, "Hey, I'll buy you a CD refurbisher."
And you got a really cool sticker. Okay, you got a cool sticker.
He didn't reach out to me for that. He did that anyway.
Yeah, well, you can't have your cake and eat it too, but
yeah. You better just be praying he didn't get that joke book off of Temu, because if he did, you're definitely not gonna.
He showed me a couple of jokes. I wish I could remember one of them. Hey, it might still be on here. I don't know. Instagram is weird about hiding the pictures after you look at it, whatever.
Yeah. Well, you've got a choice though. When you do that, if you take a photo like that minute to send, you have a choice. You can have it to only last for just the opening and then it goes away. Or you can choose for it to be permanent. Like there's a difference. Yeah.
I don't know how to do that. I'll have to learn that.
I don't know that I know how. I'm just saying when you do that, it gives you the option. And if you don't change it, the automatic setting, I think, just gives it the opportunity to be opened and viewed the one time.
Oh, makes sense.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Okay. Well,
I used to wonder about it too. And I had never done that myself, like taking one live to send until here a couple months back, I guess. And I saw the option. I thought, oh, that's one of those people that have sent photos of, like I remember Chris Easy Pickens had sent a photo of something to me one day. And after I looked at it, it disappeared. I was going to go show my wife and I pulled it back out. I said, well, never mind. It's gone.
It was cool though.
Yeah. I mean, I couldn't figure it out either, so, but yeah, it did that for me. So
that's cool. That's cool.
All right, man.
All right, guys. Well, we're going to head out and try to do a little work. Maybe. I don't know. We'll see.
Debatable.
All right. Two Old Guys, episode 78. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Take care.